All right, everyone, thank you for joining. This video is going to show you how you can edit a Desmos activity. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the first focus lesson from the Advanced Algebra Trig Pacing Guide, and I'm going to take you through a few different things that you can do so you can edit an activity to your liking, but also be careful that you're not editing something that might change more than you have anticipated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this focus lesson on radian and degrees. So no matter what content you're in, you would just find your Desmos activity, click on it so that you can get the link, and it's going to automatically open it up in your Desmos account. And so when you do this, the very first thing that you need to do is you click these three dots to the right and you hit copy and edit. Again, the only way this is going to happen is if you see your name in this profile up here, because that means you're actually in your account. So I'm going to hit copy and edit. And then when I do that, you notice that this screen comes up for you. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how, if you are interested in putting your number sense routine at the beginning of your Desmos activity, I'm going to show you a few different things about how you can input it and you can kind of help give students some sentence starters. All right, so this activity is for the focus lesson on radians and degrees, so I'm going to put my number sense routine before that. So if you notice over here, there's a plus sign. So I'm going to hit this plus sign, and then I'm just going to take this slide and I'm going to move it over so that the first thing that pops up is the number sense routine. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a title, and I'm going to say number sense routine. All right, so if you want to put in a number sense routine, of course, you have to know which one you're using. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to find the number sense routines, and I want to use this one. So what I'm going to do is, so that I have an image of this, I'm going to use my snipping tool. I'm going to snip an image of my number sense routine, and then I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it in my pictures, and I'm going to call this AAT NSR1 because it will be my first number sense routine that I'm using. I'm going to go ahead, whoops, let's see why that happened. No, let's try this again. AAT NSR1. Save. All right, so now that I know that that's saved to my computer, I'm going to go back to my activity builder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to input media. So I'm going to click on media. I'm going to choose a file to upload, and I save this as AATNSR1. So I'm going to find that. And then here is my number sense routine. But I also want to give students directions for this number sense routine. So what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to add a note. So in this note, I'm going to say, look at these two images and think about how they are alike and how they are different. And on this slide, I'm not going to give them the opportunity to type anything because this is when I just want them to look at what they're doing. And just kind of as a note, if you preview it, you can see what it looks like. Maybe you don't like that the directions are next to the image. So a way you can fix that is you can take all of these, they're called components. You can take these components and you can put them wherever you want. So I can take this component and I can move it so that it comes first. So now when I preview it, I have the directions and I have the image. One thing that's nice about the notes is when you enter spaces, that actually takes into account how it looks on the slide. So maybe I want one more space in between the directions and the picture just to make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So I'm just going to hit enter a couple times. And then when I preview it, there's that extra space. So now this slide is for students to take a look at the number sense routine, but not actually do anything with it yet. It's their independent think time. All right, so the next thing that's going to happen is I want them to give me some responses. So you can duplicate a slide, and the way you do that is right here where you see these three dots above all of the components. If you click that, you can say duplicate screen. So now the second screen is the exact same thing. Okay, so now I want them to actually submit their responses. And for this one, I prefer to have the image on the left, and I'm going to have the directions on the right. So I'm going to slide it over. And I'm going to say, in the spaces provided, explain what you found to be alike and or different. Complete as many as you would like. The reason I'm doing this is because students might have more than one reason as to why they think the images are alike and more than one reason as to why they think they are different. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some text inputs, and I can add as many of these as I want. So I'm just going to give 4 likes and 4 difference. So I'm going to say, but I'm going to add a note. I'm going to move it over here, and I'm going to say, in the spaces below, explain what you found to be alike. And then I'm going to add another note. In a minute, I'm going to show you why I'm doing this. But in this note, I'm going to say, in the spaces below, explain what you found to be different. So now when I preview it, just to see what's going on, it doesn't look too great right now because I have alike here and different is kind of over here, and I want to organize it so that they're kind of side by side, and then students can choose where they want to go. So in order to do that, like I showed before, I can just enter some spaces on the original note, and I'm just going to play around with it until it looks good to me. So I'm just going to hit enter a few times, and I'm also going to just add a line to kind of separate the 2 sets of directions. And in a second, you'll see why I'm doing this. All right, so now as you can see, all right, they're not quite lined up. So I'm going to go back and let's just see what's happening. All right, now these 2 are kind of side by side, which looks good to me. I'm good with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some text boxes, and I want some text boxes to appear underneath alike. And then here I want to put some text boxes for different. So I'm going to add 4 here and 4 here. So I'm about to just click text input 8 times, and you're going to see what we're going to do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if I scroll down, you will see I've got all these text inputs. All right. Just like we kind of move some of the notes around, we can move these text inputs around so that they go underneath where I want them to go. So I want 4 text inputs underneath alike. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. When I preview it, I've got found to be alike, 4 boxes, found to be different, 4 boxes. Ugh, I don't like this, so I'm going to give myself 1 more space in my directions. Don't know if I went in the right way. I did. Great. So now they're lined up a little bit better. All right, now what I'm also going to do, and this is going to use something called the computation layer, is I'm going to give students a sentence starter. That way they kind of know what box they're filling out. So what I'm going to do is if I click on this right here, I can add a script. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a starting point for how to start saying what they want to say. In just a second when this loads. So how I do this is I'm going to type initial text, and that's the coding that Desmos uses. So initial text, automatically this colon has come up. And the initial text is the sentence starter for kids. So I'm going to say, these images are alike because. What's super important is you have to have a quotation mark at the beginning of your sentence and a quotation mark at the end of your sentence. And I'm going to hit done. So now when I preview it, the text box starts with these images are alike because, and students will come in here and they'll type in whatever it is that they want to say. So I'm going to do that in all of my text boxes. So in this computation layer, I'm just going to take this whole statement, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to go ahead and paste it in all of the alike boxes. When I go over to the difference ones, I'm still going to use the computation layer script. I'm going to go ahead and paste it, but I'm going to say these images are Oh, whoops, I put that in a note. So when this little warning comes up, it means you've done something wrong. So that's how I knew to go back and look. So I'm going to go to here and I'm going to say these images are different because I'm going to take that, I'm going to copy and paste it into all of the difference. It's up to you if you want to show students the classmates' responses or not. I mean, it's a personal choice. You do what you want to do. For me, I'm going to say no, because what I would want to end up doing is giving everyone a minute to, like, I would scroll through all of the responses to give kids a chance to read everything, because from what I've seen, when students see each other's responses, they see the most recent ones, but they won't see all of them. So when I would be going through and facilitating my number sense routine, I would actually physically pull up all of the responses so kids have a minute to look at everything. All right, so that is how you can incorporate a number sense routine. And you can put anything in here, whether it was a which one doesn't belong, it was a today's diagram or today's number. And anytime you do a text box, if you want to do this initial text, you do it the same way, no matter what your number sense routine is. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is just kind of take you through a few different ways you could edit this activity. So the first thing that I want to take a look at is you can edit a note. So I'm just going to click on a random slide. I'm going to go to this negative angle slide. So if you want to edit a note, and up here it says that it's a note, you can change what it says. So if you don't like the wording exactly, you can make it say whatever you want to say. So negative angles are generated by a clockwise rotation. Even though the angle values on the x-axis and y-axis have changed, the quadrants are still labeled the same. Maybe you want to say, even though the angle values on the axes have changed, it's just personal preference, so you can go in and you can edit any note that you want. But one thing that I want to caution you with is kind of like with the number sense routine, we added this computation layer. If you go to a slide and you want to edit it, do not edit anything where this computation layer is green, because if you change something in this table, the fact that this is green means that things are happening for a reason. And if you don't change the computation layer, but you change what's in the table, all of a sudden things aren't going to look right. What I mean is, if I preview this, so the table here has computation layer script in it. When I preview it, when I click this button, specific things happen based on that computation layer script. If you were to say, all right, well, I want to add another problem, and you go down to the table and you add something, and then when I go to preview it, we have this extra piece here that now nothing is happening, because that's not how this activity was intended. So again, if you see this green computation layer script, don't do anything to that component. You don't want to change it, because then it will affect the activity and kind of the meaning behind what's going on. This note, it was totally fine to edit, because you notice right here, the computation layer script is in green. So feel free to edit anything that you want, as long as the computation layer is not green. All right, so again, let's say I preview this slide and I see a lot of directions here and I want to move some things around. Let's say I want to, since this is describing negative angles, maybe I want to put that above the image, and I want to keep the directions for this table in the same spot. So that's something that I can do. So I'm going to add a note. The only thing, again, I want to caution is when you add it, you have to find where it went. It's not always going to go where you want it to be initially. So I'm scrolling through. Here's the note that I just added, and I know it because there's this blue kind of like box around it. I'm going to take it and I'm going to move it over here. So right now it's underneath my image, but I want to move it and I want to put it on top of my image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this initial piece, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to paste it and put it over here. And now I'm going to take it out of this, because I just wanted to move where it was. So when I preview it, all right, great. Now I have a description of the image. Now I have directions for the table, and maybe I like that a little bit more. Okay, one thing that I personally don't like is how close these are together and that these aren't in line. So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to say enter, because I want to line things up a little bit more. Now it's lined up to my liking, and I think that it's good to go. So I'm done editing that slide. All right, another thing that I want to show you is some of our focus lessons also might have videos in here. So for example, here I have a video. You can create your own videos and you can upload it, again, just by clicking on the media and uploading a video that you made. Or if you want to, maybe you found a video that you like and you can get rid of this. So I click the three dots and I'm going to delete this component. And maybe in here, I'd put a link. So I would find whatever YouTube link and I would paste a link here. And then whatever your link is, it will pop out in a new window for students to view. So again, if you find a video, you can't directly upload it because of the fact that it's a web link, but you can just copy and paste the link into the note. All right. Another thing that I want to show you is maybe you're thinking about using a Desmos activity in a lesson or in an activity and you want students to be able to upload a picture of their work. How you can get them to do that. So on this slide, I have a bunch of problems to try. And the way I've made this is students kind of work on this, they check their work, show answers. I made the answers appear so that you can see the work that I did. Every focus lesson is not going to have this. Every activity is not going to have this. This is just something that I personally made. But let's say you want to give students the opportunity to upload their handwritten work so that you can see it and you can give them feedback on what they did wrong. So what I'm going to do after this slide is I'm going to add a new slide. And on this slide, I'm going to say, upload a picture of your work. And the way we can do this is you need to add, oh, let me move my face, it's in the way. So what you need to do is you need to add a graph screen. So now when students see it, oh shoot, hold on a second. I want a full screen graphing calculator. So now if they want to upload a picture of their work, in a second, I'm going to show you how you can edit this. So back in the editing screen, you might want to give directions that tell them how to upload an image. So the way you can give them directions is hit this plus and add a note. So now you can write a note to them. So you can say, hit the plus sign to upload an image of your work. And now when I preview it, that direction is there for them. So hit the plus sign to upload an image of your work. They might need a little help with that, but they can upload an image of their work. And so they would be able to, let's see if I have anything in there. Let's just find a random picture. Oh, look, there's the work that I did before. So I'm going to open it and then it uploads right there. Now that I'm looking at this, I don't like that the graph is in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these settings. So I'm going to hit this settings. I'm going to turn off my grid. I'm going to turn off the x-axis. I'm going to turn off the y-axis so that this is blank for them. So now when I preview it, if I was a kid, I would hit this plus sign. I would find an image, find my work, upload it. So now you as the teacher can see the work that they did so you can help them figure out where they went wrong. All right, I think that was all that I kind of wanted to point out in this, just to kind of show you some different ways that you can modify activities that were already made. As always, if you have any questions or you're working on something and you're not sure exactly what's happening, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is krbookbinder@henrico.k12.va.us.